Hello, welcome back to Ask Allison. So today I have a question that I'm going to read. There have been a lot of unlicensed coaches and holistic practitioners popping up in my community lately, and I've been to some mixers and gotten some invitations for networking coffee, but I'm uncomfortable accepting. My niche is high risk, and we wouldn't really be sharing clients or referring to each other. I feel like I'm being a snob, but ethically speaking, I'd be a bad therapist if I referred to some of these people. So before I answer this, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes for sponsoring us. I hesitate to lump all these people together because I would be a bad therapist if I referred to some therapists, right? So I also work with a high-risk population. I work with folks with eating disorders, and eating disorders kill more people than any other mental illness. So I get the pressure of high risk and wanting to make sure you're really taking care of your people. And I've referred my high-risk clients to coaches before. So for instance, I referred a client who had some executive functioning issues to a respected executive functioning coach who really helped her get the tools that she needed to implement some things to make all of her executive functioning improve. The executive functioning was not a result of malnourishment or anything like that. And so while she and I were doing the intense work of like helping root out her eating disorder, she was able to function better at work and at home because she had some tools that she didn't have, that I didn't have to teach her either. There are also some eating disorder recovery coaches, many of whom are actually therapists, but there are some eating disorder recovery coaches who are really good at the in-the-moment support. They're able to be there in a way that most therapists can't when a client is struggling at dinner or trying not to purge or something like that. So there are some really great resources out there in the coaching world, and I think that as therapists, one of the things that our community can do sometimes is have this attitude of like, well, if you want my job, you just need to go to grad school. Don't try to be a coach. That's with quotation marks if you're listening. But a good coach knows their scope, just like a good therapist knows their scope. And I think that there's room for all of us. So that being said, if you feel like the work that they're doing or the way that they're practicing would be detrimental to your clients, yeah, I wouldn't waste your time networking with them. I wouldn't do that. For instance, I would never knowingly grab coffee with somebody who would recommend a cleanse for anybody. But aside from that, I would come at it with curiosity. I would want to know a little bit more about the work that they do and how they do it, and ask them, like, at what point do you tend to refer to therapy? Like, where's your line? Because most of them have thought through that, hopefully. And just because you network with someone doesn't mean you're ever obligated to send them a client. So that's another thing to consider, both vice versa. But they might find you to be a really good resource for them if their clients need more than they're able to provide for them. And you might find a good resource for one of your friends or a family member if they needed something that was not necessarily like needing therapy. So I hope that answers that. Yeah, I think it would be case by case. Like, if you don't believe in what they do, then obviously don't waste your time. But if you think that there could be some utility in what they do for the right client, whether that's a therapy client or just a straight up coaching client, then I think it's worth your time to check out. All right, well, thank you for your time. And if you guys have questions for Ask Allison, come on over to ask@abundancepracticebuilding.com and shoot me an email.